everyone, I hope all of you are doing good, and today I am here with Why Do We Fall Ill? Class 9th Science. So I am Roshni from Learner Hub, the free learning platform where you can learn anything about math, science, social science, English grammar absolutely for free at learnerhub.com. Now we all notice that when we fall ill, how do we feel? We do not feel good, certainly. We feel weak, we don't feel like eating anything, we don't feel like doing anything. Sometimes we don't even get proper sleep. Now the question is, why do we fall ill? We mostly see that the elderly people, as we grow old, we become more prone to infection. The reason being, our energy levels reduce, our stamina reduces, the overall immunity of the body also reduces, so we become more prone to infections and germs. And that's why we become more weak and we tend to fall more ill. But even if we are young and healthy, we sometimes fall ill. Why? There could be so many reasons. There could be so many different types of infections and different types of diseases. So in this lesson, we are going to focus on the cause of diseases, infectious diseases, non-infectious diseases, how do they spread, what are the symptoms, and all about that. So we will complete this entire lesson on why do we fall ill in 5 videos. So I would request you to watch all the 5 videos completely so that you get a crystal clear understanding of the lesson. The link to the playlist is given in the description below. So feel free to click on it and learn why do we fall ill. So are you ready to learn with me? Let's get started. All of you would have heard the statement that health is wealth. Correct? We would have often come across this. Since our childhood, we have been hearing that health is wealth. Health is the biggest property which you actually have. It is not your big house, it is not your big car, or it is not the big bank balance which you have. It is your health which is the biggest property that you actually own. So why do we generally say that? Now, what happens when you are not in a good health, when you don't have a good health? What are the things that will get affected, you think? Let us think of you. You all being students, what is your job? What is your purpose in life? You want to study well. You want to be something in your life. Maybe you want to become a doctor, a professor, an engineer, or whatever. You want to be a sportsman. You want to play games. You want to roam around with your friends. You want to spend time with your family. These are some of the things which you actually want to do, right? But suppose if you are not in a good health, maybe you are suffering from a disease, or you are disturbed mentally, do you think that you will be able to do all these things in an effective way? No, right? So if you don't have good health, end of the day you are not being able to do what you wanted to do, right? Similarly, let us think of the scenario of somebody else, maybe a teacher. So if you look at this teacher, what is her job in life? She wants to qualify students. She wants to teach the students in the best possible way. For example, me being a teacher, I want to explain things the best way I know them, right? Now, if I am not healthy, do you think that I'll be able to give my 100% in teaching? No, right? Similarly, if you think of somebody who is working in an office, even he needs to be in a good health in order to give his best to his work, right? So whatever you do in life, you need to have a good health in order to perform that task effectively. Correct? So now I think we can define health. How can you define health? It is a state of being well enough to function well physically, mentally, and socially. Right? So it is not only, many of us often think that health is all about physical health. So that means if I am not suffering from any disease, that means I am healthy enough. But that is not true. So in order to be healthy, you have to get rid of all the physical diseases like fever, like cold, cough, any kind of injuries to your body. At the same time, you have need to get rid of the mental stress. You need to get off the social stress, maybe because human beings, we all humans, we live in a society, right? So the societal pressure is also a big pressure for all of us. For example, whatever we do, we always do thinking that we will be recognized in the society, right? For example, let's talk about your parents. Your parents have admitted you to good schools, they want you to study well, they want their kid to become a doctor. Why? Because they think that in a society, when they say that my son is a doctor, people will be proud of, your dad will be proud of the fact that my son is a doctor, and everybody in the society will actually praise him, right? But at the same time, if you are not doing well and if you could not do anything in your life, then maybe people in the society, they will tell your dad, oh, look at this guy, he could not bring his child properly, right? So that societal pressure is also a big thing for humans. So in order to be healthy, you need to have good physical health, good mental health, as well as good social health. So all these three things together will give you a good health, and that is why we define health in this way: a state of being well enough to function well physically, mentally, and socially. Clear? So now let us look at the factors which affect health. What are the different factors which actually affect our health? So the first factor is social environment plus physical environment. What do you think I'm talking about when I say social plus physical environment? Well, when I'm talking about the social environment, I'm talking about our surroundings where we actually live. For example, if you compare somebody who is living in a metro, a big city, with another person who is living in a small town, and again if you compare yourself with another person who is living in a very small village, do you think that the social environment for these three persons are all the same? They are not, right? Because somebody who is living in a big city, he is having all the facilities around him, he is having nice infrastructure, cleanliness around him, at the same time he is facing a lot of pollution. Whereas somebody who is living in a small village, maybe it is not that organized, maybe it is bit pollution free because you don't have so many vehicles there and you have lot of greenery, but at the same time maybe it is little clumsy and little crowded, and you might have garbage thrown here and there. So the social environment also plays an important role in your health, right? What do I mean when I talk about the physical environment? Physical environment generally talks about the natural phenomenon which happens in the environment. For example, we often hear of news of floods, earthquakes, cyclones, or heavy rains. So don't you think that all these things also affect our health? For example, due to floods, we often see that so many people actually lose their lives. There are so many people who get injured physically, right? So the physical environment also plays an important role, the climatic conditions, right? So the social and physical environment together plays or together affects our health. The next factor is cleanliness, individual as well as public cleanliness. So when I talk of individual cleanliness, what all comes to our mind? So when I talk of individual cleanliness, we can think of all these things. For example, washing hands before we eat something, because we are going out, we are doing so many things, we are touching so many different objects. So maybe there are germs or there are things in our hands which are not good for our health. So it is always good to wash our hands properly before we eat something. So again, when I talk of individual cleanliness, we should maintain hygiene. So where do you think we can maintain hygiene in our individual life? For example, we should try to keep our house neat and clean. We should try to keep the kitchen very neat. We should keep whatever we cook, we should keep them covered so that insects or something else doesn't fall into them, right? So we should maintain those kind of hygiene at our home. Again, we should clean ourselves properly. That means when we take bath, we should take bath regularly, and that too we should wash our body properly so that our body is neat and clean. Right? So these are some of the small things which we can take care of when we think of our individual cleanliness. Now, when it comes to public cleanliness, what are the things that should be taken care of? Well, when I talk of public cleanliness, for example, the garbage. The garbage should not be thrown here and there, right? So the garbage should be if everybody maintains his individual cleanliness, maintaining the public cleanliness becomes little easier, right? So I have seen many places, not only the small towns or villages, even in big cities, there are places where you will see that people throw garbage on roadside. And it is in an open space where people just come and keep throwing their garbage. So there is lot of dirt there, so many insects, birds will come and they'll start picking up things from there, and it is like it'll smell badly. So it is a horrible place to live. So if you are living in these kind of localities, the tendency that your health will get affected will be more, right? So the garbage should be properly collected and accumulated at a place so that it does not cause pollution, or so that it does not affect the people residing in that locality, right? So what we can do is everybody in their house can pack their garbage in a bag, and then that can be collected by the people, the municipality people who come, and then they can collect it and then they can throw it at an appropriate place, right? Similarly, when I talk of public cleanliness, the uncleaned drains should be looked after. So you can see that there are so many drains where water keeps flowing but nobody maintains it. So that water will have all dirt in it, it will smell badly, it will have so many insects, mosquitoes and flies hovering around here and there. So these are the places from where diseases actually arise. So there should be no stagnant water collected anywhere, because wherever you have stagnant water, you have mosquito breeding there. Now more mosquitoes, so those mosquitoes can cause many severe diseases, right? So these are some of the things which we can take care of when we talk of cleanliness, both at individual level as well as public level. The third thing is good economic conditions. Why do you think that good economic conditions also affect our health? Now, when I talk of health, health will be good only when we have everything in a proper quantity. We should eat properly to have good physical health. Now, in order to eat proper food and in order to get good nourishment, what do we need? We need money. Right? If you want to buy vegetables or fruits or pulses, you need money, right? You will not get it for free. So from where will you get that money? In order to earn that money, you need to work, right? So good economic conditions. If somebody who is very poor, he cannot afford good food for himself. So if he is not eating proper food, it is very obvious that his health is getting affected. Right? So good economic conditions is extremely important in order to have a good health. The next one is social equality and harmony. As I said, that human beings are social animals, right? So if we live in a society where there is a lot of distinction between rich and poor, so what will happen? It will depress the poor. If there is too much of distinction between a boy and a girl, if people say that boys are good and girls are not good, if you are living in that kind of a society, what will happen? The girls will stay depressed, they will start feeling bad, so their mental health will be affected, right? So social equality should be maintained. Everybody should be treated equally, be it the rich or the poor, or be it a man or a woman. So everybody should be given or should be treated equally, and there should be harmony between people. So if there are fights, if there are arguments between people, so what will happen? We will lose happiness, right? So let us take this example. Suppose if you are living in a society where you have 4 neighbors, right? So the 4 families are staying together. So which is a better situation to live in, that the four families are very friendly with each other, they keep coming and going to each other houses, they keep inviting them on festivals. So that is a good scenario. Or this is a good scenario where they don't talk to each other, they always argue with each other, they keep fighting amongst themselves. So in which such scenario do you think that people will be happier, people will be in a good mental and social health? The one which has lot of harmony, right? So in order to be in good health both mentally and socially, social equality and harmony also plays a very important role, right? So these are some of the broad factors which affects our health: social and physical environment, individual and public cleanliness, good economic conditions, social equality and harmony. Many of us often misunderstand being healthy as being disease free. Many people think that if I am not suffering from any disease, that means I am healthy. But as I mentioned in the definition of health, that it is not always the scenario. That if we are disease free, that doesn't mean that we are healthy. Let us look at some of the examples. So being disease free does not necessarily mean to be healthy, right? Let us look at some of the examples. Let us look at this guy. What does he look like? He look like a sportsman, right? So for this player, what do you think that healthy would mean to be? Maybe this player thinks that as long as he is fit enough, he is active enough to play well, he is healthy. As long as nothing is bothering his energy, he feels that he is healthy enough. But maybe there are some problems, which is maybe some physical problems only are going in his body. Maybe he is getting some skin infection somewhere. But since it is not bothering him, so he is fine. He feels that being a player, what he needs a lot of energy, he needs fitness, he needs to be active. And if he is having all that, he calls himself to be healthy, right? Similarly, if you look at a dancer, for a dancer, he should be able to stretch her hands and legs properly. She should have good energy in her. So if she is having all those things, she feels that she is healthy. Similarly, for a singer, maybe if his lungs are good enough, his breathing capacity is good enough, he feels that he is healthy. Again, if you think of an old person, maybe this old lady, if she is able to walk, if she is able to go to her neighbor friends, chat with them, come back on her own, and she can do little bit work on her own. For example, she can prepare her own food, she can serve her own food. She feels that she is healthy enough. But maybe all of these people are suffering from some other kind of problems. Maybe one of them is having some tooth problem, but since it is not giving him any pain or it is not causing him any uncomfortable, so he feels that he is healthy, right? So when I talk of being healthy, healthy means that the person has to be physically fit, the person has to be mentally happy, and the person also needs to be socially satisfied. So this health is always a combination of physical, mental and social health. If all these three things are there, then you can say that a person is healthy. So this is a myth that being disease free is being healthy. It is not actually like that, right? Okay. So now that we have spoken enough about health, what is the significance of health, how do we define health, why do we need a good health? So now it is time that we talk about disease. Diseases are something which directly affect our physical health. So now we will talk about what are diseases, what are the different types of diseases, what causes them and how can we cure them, right? So let us try to understand what is a disease. The term disease itself is a short form of disturbed ease. So if you see here, you can see that this disturbed ease actually makes up disease. What do you mean by disturbed ease? That means you are not much comfortable. So ease means comfort. So when you are not feeling comfortable, that means you are having some problems, right? So disease results in a change in either the functioning or the appearance of one or more systems of the body for the worse. So that means maybe any system of the body is not functioning properly. Maybe your digestive system is not working properly. So in that case, you will not be able to digest your food. So in that case, there are possibilities that you might have vomitings or you might have loose motions, right? Similarly, if let us suppose you are having some problems in your eye, you got some infection or you got some allergy in your eye, so what will happen? There will be swelling in your eye, there will be redness, there will be your eyes will become watery, right? So all these problems will be there. So whenever there is any change in your body, either in the functioning of the system or in the appearance, so it is not always only about the functioning, sometimes it is the functioning. For example, the digestive system example which I gave, there the functioning of the digestive system was not proper, even though you were looking absolutely fine, but sometimes it is the appearance of the body changes. For example, you get a cut in your arm, so that means there is a change in the appearance of your skin as well, right? So either the appearance or the functioning changes, you feel uncomfortable, so then you say that you are suffering from a disease. Now when I say uncomfortable, so we can feel uncomfortable in many different scenarios. For example, maybe when you are suffering from fever, you are having high temperature, you feel uncomfortable, right? You don't feel the same as you are when you don't have fever, right? Or when you caught cold or cough, you're continuously sneezing, or your nose is always flowing, or you're coughing badly, so in that case also you will feel uncomfortable. You can also feel uncomfortable when you have headache. So headache is something which actually spoils our day. When you have headache, you cannot concentrate on anything, you cannot work properly, you cannot watch television, you don't at all feel like being awake, you always feel like sleeping, right? Sometimes when you are suffering from diseases like malaria, typhoid, even after you have been cured, you get lot of weakness, so you tend to feel weak, you don't feel that activeness in your body, you always feel drowsy, right? Sometimes it also happens that you have pain in different parts of your body. Sometimes you might get stomachache. Why stomachache? Maybe you are down with stomachache, but somebody is partying in your intestine, somewhere in the intestine. So in this picture you can see that who are partying, it is none else but the germs who are actually partying in your intestine, but you are down with stomach pain or vomiting or loose motion, so things like that, right? So that is again a situation where you feel uncomfortable, correct? Okay, there are scenarios where there are change in the appearance of the body. For example, here in these pictures you can see that this first guy, he has met some accident, and that is why he got one of his legs broken, so the leg has fractured, right? So there is a change in the appearance. Similarly, in the second picture you can see that the guy is wounded, right? So there is a change in the appearance in his body. So these kind of wounds can happen because of accidents, or because of war, or because you have hurt yourself somewhere, right? So these are some of the scenarios where you actually feel very uncomfortable, and then you say that you are suffering from a disease. Now, when I talk of disease, it becomes very important to talk about the signs and symptoms of a disease. How do you actually know that you are suffering from a disease? Now, a person who is suffering will know only when he starts feeling something uncomfortable, right? Only then he gets to know that maybe something is wrong inside his body. Now, so what do we call as symptoms? Symptoms of disease are the things which we feel as being wrong. For example, if we are getting headache, so when I feel that I'm having headache, I feel that maybe something is wrong with my body because I'm having headache. So similarly, sometimes we feel pukish, we feel like vomiting, right? So that sensation of vomiting makes us feel that maybe something wrong is happening in our body. So these are known as the symptoms of disease. Symptoms indicate that there might be a disease. So now if you have this symptom, that does not necessarily mean that you have the disease, right? For example, sometimes it happens that maybe you have worked too much, or because of too much exertion you got headache, right? Now when you get headache, you feel that, oh, I'm having headache. So headache doesn't mean that you will have some severe disease like brain fever or something, correct? So it just indicates that there might be a disease, but it might also happen that maybe because of exertion or because of too much work you had headache, so you take rest for some time and the headache goes off, right? So the symptoms does not necessarily say that there is a disease, but it says that there might be a disease. Now, what do we mean by signs of a disease? So this was all about symptoms. So when I say symptoms, that means something which we feel as wrong. When I talk about signs of a disease, these are the things a doctor looks for on the basis of symptoms. Now let us suppose you had headache, right? You felt that maybe something is wrong in my body. You take rest for an hour or two. You still feel that the headache is still there. So in that case, what do we generally do? We visit a doctor, right? Now, as soon as you go to the doctor doesn't start examining you at once, right? The doctor will ask you, what happened to you? How are you feeling? Now, based on whatever you say, the doctors will try to identify the disease. So the things which a doctor look for on the basis of symptoms, they are known as signs of a disease. Right? So you say that I am having headache. So now on the basis of the fact that you are having headache, the doctor will also try to check few more things. He will try to check if you are having fever as well. He will also try to check if you are having cold as well, or if you are having pain in some other part of the body. Right? So the doctor will look for certain other things in order to check if what does that indicate. So signs indicate presence of a particular disease. So now if the doctor feels that, now let us suppose you said that you have headache. So that is the only thing which you told. So that was the symptom which you felt. Now based on your symptom, so based on the fact that you have headache, the doctor will ask if you have fever as well. Now let us suppose you say that yeah, I have fever also. Now the doctor will ask, do you have loose motions as well? You say that yes, I have loose motion also. So now based on whatever you say, the doctor will actually diagnose which disease is this. So the doctor will say, let us suppose, for example, the doctor will say that okay, so this looks like that it might be this disease. Right? So when the signs which the doctor is looking for comes out to be true, it actually indicates that there is a specific disease. Maybe if these are the signs, if headache, fever and loose motions, if all these things, let us suppose these are the symptoms of, for example, let us consider these are the examples of viral flu. So the doctor will say that I feel flu is the disease with which you are suffering. Right? So the symptoms just indicate that there might be a disease, but the signs indicate that this might be this particular disease. So signs indicate a particular disease, but symptoms indicate that it can be a disease, it cannot be a disease as well. Right? So the main difference between, even though the terms symptoms and signs look very similar, but there are differences between the two. When I talk of symptom, we are talking about the things which we feel wrong. And when we talk about signs, we are talking about the things which the doctor look for. Symptoms might or might not be a disease, but signs indicate presence of a particular disease. Right? Okay. So with this, let us try to look at the two categories of diseases. So we will talk about acute diseases and chronic diseases and how do they differ from each other. So when I talk of acute diseases, what are they? Diseases which last for very short periods of time. That means you have some disease, for example, let us look at some of the examples like common cold, cough, flu, tonsillitis, appendicitis, most headaches. These are some of the diseases which happen, which last for a very short period of time, and they do not have much negative effects on our body. For example, when you get headache, what happens? You get headache, it lasts for maybe a couple of hours, 3 to 4 hours. You take rest for some time, or maybe you take a medicine, and after 4 to 5 hours, you are absolutely fine. So there are no after effects of headaches. Similarly, if you get common cold, you sneeze for a couple of days, maybe 1 or 2 days, and after that you get well. So these are the diseases which last for very short periods of time and they do not affect your body very badly. Right? So some of the examples are flu, common cold, headaches. On the other hand, what are chronic diseases? Diseases which last for a very long time. So there are diseases like that as well. For example, asthma, diabetes, glaucoma, and allergy. So when you think of asthma, what is asthma? It is a kind of disease where you have breathing problems. So many people have these diseases since they were a child. So since their childhood till their old age, throughout their life, they have this asthma for which they keep taking medicines, they keep doing exercises and all to make it better, but still it lasts for a longer time. So when a disease is lasting for your lifetime, then it is obviously going to have some negative effects on your body. Similarly, there is another disease like diabetes. What is diabetes? It is a very common disease which maybe even you have some diabetic patient at your home. When the sugar level in the body increases, right? So this is again something which is there for a very long time, so it affects your body. Glaucoma. What is glaucoma? It is a disease of the eye. So what happens in this? This is a disease where the optic nerve of the eye gets damaged. What is the optic nerve? Optic nerve is a nerve which actually sends the signals from eye to brain. For example, whatever we see a tree. How do we know that we are seeing a tree? Because our eyes just help us to see the tree, but it is a tree, that message is conveyed by the brain. So whatever we see, that is transferred to the brain via the optic nerve. So in glaucoma, the optic nerve gets damaged, and that is why in due course of time, the patient can also become blind. Right? So glaucoma again is a kind of disease which if you get it once, it lasts for a very longer period of time. Now, however, if it is detected quite early, then the treatment can be done and it can become okay, but still it has some effect on the patient's body. Similarly, allergies, you might know many people who are allergic to few things. For example, some people are allergic to pollen. So whenever they go out in greenery in little cold weather, they tend to catch cold. So these kind of allergies also last for years together. Right? So now you understand what are acute diseases and what are chronic diseases. Chronic diseases are all long lasting diseases which will affect your body badly, and acute diseases are the diseases which last for a very short period of time and they do not leave much bad effects on your body.
So children, what do you have to say about this video? If you have a feedback, do not forget to write it in the comment section because we eagerly wait to read your comments. And if you really liked the video, do not forget to share it with your friends so that your friends can also enjoy learning. So keep learning, keep enjoying, stay safe, stay home and stay healthy. I will meet you all very soon with a new video, with a new topic. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.